Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And before I introduce my next guest, I'd like to remind you again to please like and subscribe down below if you enjoy this content. We appreciate it greatly. Here we have the band Shurwood with us today. Guys, how you doing?
Good, man. Great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just a beautiful night up here in Minnesota. I know you guys are down there in Florida. I hope it's not too muggy down there. But why don't you give us a little bit of a backstory on how you guys formed as a band, kind of like what influenced you guys to pursue music?
All right. Well, there's a considerable age difference between me and Bailey. He's 21. I'm 29. I've been doing this for half my life since I was like 15, and I basically wasn't in a band for a couple years. I was itching to be in a band again. I went online trying to find people to start a band with, and I came across Bailey, and we met up, and him and one of his other friends came. We jammed. We clicked. Me and Bailey clicked like immediately, and then
we started writing like immediately. It was pretty cool. Like one of the easiest processes I think I've ever been involved with.
I just originally I was just gonna play drums because I played drums, bass, guitar, and he was gonna play guitar, and his other friend was gonna play guitar, and then I saw how good I thought we could be, and I'm a way better bass player than drummer, so I hit up one of my good friends to play drums for us. And that's how we start off. And then since then, me and Bailey, there's been a couple member changes, and we've went through a lot this year. But me and Bailey have pretty much, we're the two founding members, and we're Shurwood. I mean, the guys we got in the band definitely are a part of our band. You know what I'm saying now. But I mean, we started it, so.
The core members.
The core members, yeah, the original.
So we get a lot of bass members on here. We also get a lot of drummers. But what would you say is the most underappreciated aspect of being a bass player when it just comes to being in like any band? When it comes to when people describe bass players, what is probably the biggest thing they overlook?
I don't know. I feel like the biggest thing they overlook is how important it is, because I mean, if you listen to any band without a bass player and then with a bass player, you'll notice a difference. I mean, it's the rhythm driver, it's carrying it. I mean, me as a bass player, I love the instrument. It's definitely my favorite. Like I said, I can play a handful of instruments. This is my favorite one. I like, bringing the groove to the band. And, I think a lot of bass players either tend to be too flashy or not flashy enough. There's kind of a middle ground where I like to stay in the middle, where, the parts that need just that driving bass, single note stuff, you need to be there for that. But then, you can add flash into it when it's needed. Like, you don't have to be Flea. You don't, you don't have to be Les Claypool. But I feel like there's, bass players out there that just don't try enough, and then ones that try too hard.
Yeah, you definitely have to find the pocket and find a good sweet spot in the song.
Exactly. I mean, it's like one of those things, you can add a little lick at the tail end rather than, the whole time doing an active do-do-do-do-do-do, stuff like that. That's how I feel about a bass player. You got to be tasteful with it. That's the biggest thing. I feel like with any really instrument, though, being tasteful.
Do you feel that having experience with a multiple variety of instruments has helped you overall with your musical when it comes to being able to write music or being able to come up with melodies? Do you think overall it's helped you knowing multiple instruments?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing. I honestly, the last couple releases, I don't think I wrote maybe 2 riffs on that thing. It's just I'm the guy who puts it all together. I mean, they come with riffs, and just being able to play every instrument, and really
the spice that adds a little zest to it. Yeah.
But really, I think it's more. It comes from playing every instrument and just experience of doing it for half my life. I mean, 15 years.
Yeah, you're able to look at it from all angles as opposed to I guess tunnel vision from one instrument or one aspect.
Yeah, it definitely helps. It's crazy how many musicians you meet that are like that, though. Mm-hmm. There's so many musicians that I meet on the road that they play everything, and it's and it's cool, but at the same time it can take away from your one instrument. You should have that. He's a guitar player.
I only play guitar.
But he's a really, really good guitar player. I will never be as good as he is because
guitar is the only thing that matters.
But it's definitely good to have one main instrument, I feel like.
Oh yeah. So, was there ever a song when this is for both of you, when you guys were growing up? Was there ever a song that you listened to that after you listened to it, you're like, oh my god, I really need to get into music, or this really inspired me? A lot of people that we have on here kind of describe that they usually have that cliche moment where then they're like, oh my god, I want to be a musician for what I do in life. Did you guys have a moment like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought like being the whole rock star was the coolest thing in the world since I was like 2 years old. So it's kind of been a lifelong pursuit and passion from being like a little kid and seeing Motley Crue on TV or whatever. I thought it was the sickest thing ever. That's pretty much where it started for me.
Even though like I'm wearing a fucking Metallica hat, but that's really where it started for me is Metallica. I mean, I heard Metallica, and then like I watched a live DVD, and I saw Jason Newsted like doing a bass solo, and I was like, that's fucking cool, man. And my dad is also a musician. His dad's also a musician. Actually, everybody in our band, their father was a musician.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think that plays a major role in getting it right off the gate.
Yeah. I mean, and my dad told me from the gig. I mean, my dad's a guitar player, and he told me he's like, there's a million guitar players out there. There's not a lot of good bass players. Like, you should be a bass player. And me, my dad, and actually Bailey, we play in a cover rock and roll band, classic rock band. That's what we were just doing. We just got done practicing with those guys.
That's where the riffs are. That's the fucking licks right there.
I do have to say that Master of Puppets might be one of my favorite songs of all time. That's definitely the song that got me into metal music. So I'm a huge Metallica guy myself. Just everything that they've done, I mean, I really enjoy it. They're one of those game-changing bands where just everything after them, they changed everything. So when you guys are getting together, like when you guys get together for like your first practice, when you guys had just formed the band, was there any discussion as to like what genre you guys specifically wanted to be, or did you guys already have like the genre set in stone, and then you guys were just like, okay, let's just get to work? How'd that all turn out?
I mean, I think it just kind of came out how it did.
I mean, it kind of came out how it did, but like at the same time, how I found him, Bailey, was like searching band names basically
on Craigslist,
and finding them, and like.
Okay, you are the third band though that I've had on that has said that they found on Craigslist, and I was like, you guys got to be worried.
Let's be real about it. Craigslist fucking rules.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the first band I heard about was like, you guys didn't worry about getting murdered or whatever. And they're like, oh no, they just seem like really cool guys. So I guess I'm gonna have to give a plug to Craigslist for everyone out there listening who wants to form a band. I guess give Craigslist a shot.
On Craigslist,
dude, no one's getting murdered.
Yeah, I've done so many Craigslist deals, man. I've made thousands of dollars selling gear on Craigslist, so I am comfortable.
Yeah,
it's not sketchy, dude.
So you met him on Craigslist, and then what was that first meeting kind of like?
It was pretty cool. It was a lot smoother than I thought. I mean, him coming in, he was a lot younger, so like honestly, I was like, I don't know, I didn't expect him to be as as well-rounded of a guitar player as he was. Just because he was so young, I'm 9 years older than him, and so when he came in, I didn't expect it. Then he like started playing, I was like, holy shit! And that's kind of like why I was like, yeah, let's shift the gear. I'm not gonna play drums because I'm not good enough at drums. This is like too serious. Like and I've been wanting to be in a band where I played drums, but I just saw the potential, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna play. This isn't the band for me to play drums in.
It was weird for me because it was a shed like an hour and a half away in the middle of fucking nowhere, so.
Hey, my Craigslist prediction was close to coming right.
But it was fucking sick from the get-go, man. From like day one, we definitely clicked. And
yeah, me and Bailey are two peas in a pot. Our girlfriends like get jealous of us.
Yeah, they kind of hate it.
They hate it, but they're like really good friends too, so it all works out great. But yeah, it's where we clicked from day one. And I kind of took him under my wing. He's like my little brother now. I've never had a little brother.
What was the name of the first song that you guys came up with together?
Funny.
Yeah.
Funny?
Funny, and then Under My Skin.
Yeah, Funny was the first one though. It was literally just C and F. That was it.
It fucking ripped though.
Now, when it comes to writing lyrics, who here is the one that writes the majority of the lyrics?
Me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I write the majority of the lyrics. Our previous guitar player wrote a couple songs lyrically, but for the majority of the songs, I've been writing them.
And
our now new guitar player, Vinny, he's gonna be
adds
lyrics.
quite a bit too.
He's added a lot. He's gonna be
since he's
lyrics.
been in the band.
Oh, so you guys have multiple guitar players?
Yeah.
Okay, now have you found that difficult at all, having multiple guitar players? When you guys started out, did you guys kind of have like different sounds, and then you kind of had to like gel a little bit more to kind of get your sound more together? Or did you guys find that you already had like a very distinctive sound that was similar, where you were able to then work with him, or how'd that all turn out?
Well, I was pretty fortunate to have, I guess, the same approach as the other guitar players we worked with, like, I guess, tone-wise and influence-wise. So I really never dealt with any issues. Everyone who's been in the band has always definitely contributed and been a really good, I guess, partner in writing lyrics and stuff. It's always worked. There's never been any issues. It's always been smooth.
Yeah, there definitely hasn't been any issues with other guitar players. I mean,
you hear about other bands like having creative blocks and hitting like walls of people, but we never really faced a lot of that.
I mean, because we've had now 3 other guitar players in this band since me and Bailey, and I feel like every other guitar player that has seen Bailey is like respect him enough as a guitar player. They're like, yeah. So it's always meshed really well. It's been good.
So Bailey, out of a lot of bands that we've talked to, a few of them have had an extra guitar player, but they don't have an extra player in like any other instrument. Have you ever found it personally maybe a little difficult to maybe not get into like a competition with the other guitar player to kind of like see like who can outdo each other? Or do you sometimes use that kind of like as fuel to write like better material? How do you handle all that?
I mean, no one's better, dude. It's all art when you really look at it. It's the way they approach the instrument. So
yeah, guitar shouldn't be a competition.
Yeah, I let anyone who's around me just influence my riffs, and hopefully they take the same from me. I guess it's more of a respect than a competition. I really don't want to be around anyone who's trying to upstage me or trying to shred faster. That's fucking lame, dude.
Yeah, trust. Yeah.
It's expression. Everyone feels differently, and if you're just gonna, cut your fucking guitar strings off with a delay pedal, that's gonna be cool, Whatever.
Yeah. So when you guys are coming up with your lyrics, what inspires you mainly? Is it kind of like day-to-day stuff? Is it maybe stuff that you hear on like the news or stuff that you hear in like random conversation? Or like we always see that cliche in movies where it's the guy's having a dream and then he dreams up like the most perfect lyric and then he wakes up and he's like, oh my God, I gotta write that down. I came up with the greatest song ever written or whatever. How's it come to you personally?
I write all my lyrics really, day-to-day shit. As we're growing as a band, I'm trying not to avoid the typical, I'm a sad, lonely dude because of some girl fucking dumped me shit. Those songs, some of those songs are the best songs ever written. Don't get me wrong. Love, heartbreak is, very emotional, and you can write great songs for it. But it's overplayed.
There's better things to write about.
There's a lot more important shit going on in the world rather than what's going on with you. That's what I'm trying to write. We're in the middle of writing our full length right now. And I'm trying to write the lyrics, based upon shit that's going on that I, think is fucked up in today's world, in today's society. Rather than, my heartbreak. I'm not saying there's not going to be some song on there that's like some sad, mopey shit because, that's what we are as humans. But,
don't let him fool you. He's got a soft spot.
Yeah, but but at the same time, I'm trying to write a lot about, everyday problems and society in the way, basically, I feel like, lyrically, this next full length is going to be much different than anything that we've done in the past. So.
Yeah.
And when you're coming up with your songs, are you one of the guys who comes up with the lyrics after he's written down all the lyrics, or the title after he's written down all the lyrics, and then just says, out of all these lyrics, what can I use for a title? Or do you already have a title in mind before you write the lyrics down?
By the way, this is Stickers.
Stickers? Yeah, he's stealing the podcast right now.
Yeah, he's stealing he'll steal. He's way cuter than I will ever be. It just depends, man. Sometimes I have lyrics written first, and then I write the title, and sometimes it just depends. I think every song's really different. Get out of here, bud. Every song's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It just depends. I've had songs where I could never think of a name, and then I was like, yo, what should we name this? And then somebody says it, I was like, that's the name, I don't care.
That's the one.
Do your songs tend to influence other material that you're coming up with, or do you try to differentiate a lot in your material?
We kind of pride ourselves on being somewhat of an eclectic band. Like, we want there to be a noticeable difference in everything. So, yeah. In a way, everything's going to influence everything. There's really no way to that one, sorry. But
oh, yeah, no problem.
Well, but we definitely try to write songs that are don't all sound the fucking same, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big advocate on that. Whenever we're writing songs, I'm like, this just sounds the same as the last one. And a lot of times that comes with just time. Rather than trying to write a song or like 6 songs in a day, you write 1 song a week. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because ideas, that's how they work. A lot of times it'll just start to mesh together. And that's how I feel like a lot of records that happens to, that's why. It's because the writing process was rushed.
Yeah, it's all in the same period, man. Yeah. I always say it takes about 10 riffs to get one good, solid riff.
Yeah,
there's going to be 30 fucking variations of that 3-note pattern, So.
Now, a lot of the bands that we talk to on here are usually working on their album. It's usually one of their first albums or their second albums. And a lot of them say that they like to sort of write songs that they think will be a lot more commercially successful just to kind of help them gain a little bit more of appeal in the mass audience. Is that what you're trying to do with most of these songs, or are you just saying, like, screw it, I want to write music that I understand and that I appreciate, as opposed to kind of trying to just throw a fishing line out there and try and seeing what I could hook? How is your band on that scale?
We were actually talking about it earlier today, and talking about how, like, we don't. Basically, with this record, we don't want it to be a genre. We don't want to be an emo band. You know, so we want to be a rock band. We feel like the best bands that even started out as emo bands are now rock bands.
Yeah,
you know
they evolved.
They evolved into
a more mature writing process, more mature songs overall.
And that's kind of like we're definitely like, we love, like, old '90s emo. We love the emo revival. We're definitely into that shit. But we don't want to necessarily, because we think
we're trying to break out of that.
All the greatest, like, all the greatest emo bands definitely evolved into just rock bands, and they start, we're definitely not, we're level-headed guys. We're not, like, trying to be fucking rock stars, dude, but, we would definitely love to be playing, stadiums and shit one day. That's, I think every
no one's going to shy away from writing, one hook every now and then.
Yeah,
But, this is our 5th release that we've worked on together, for sure, with different people, but we definitely feel like our process has evolved to that point where we are just more of our own thing, as opposed to an emo band or a fucking shoegaze band,
whatever you want to call. We're rock
assholes
band,
with pedal boards,
Yeah, that's us. And this is the first full length I've ever written as a musician. I've been doing it for like 15 years, and it's like I came to the realization one day, I texted all these guys. I was like, dude, we have to write this full length right now, because I have to do this right now.
Okay. So one of the big things that I found out from starting this podcast is that I live close to Minneapolis. I'm about 10 minutes out of Minneapolis, and I realized just how huge the metal scene was there, because I had no idea what the scene was like there. Everyone thinks about Minneapolis, Minnesota, they think about Prince and a couple of those popular bands. The area that you guys are from, you guys are in Florida, is that correct?
Yes.
So what would you describe more of, like, the dominant genre or scene down there?
Hardcore,
but we're also from Tampa, which was, like, at one point, like, the heavy metal capital of the fucking world.
Yeah.
Cannibal Corpse is from here and stuff like that. But that was more in the '90s. But right now, it's pretty hardcore dominant. I've played in hardcore bands. He's played in hardcore bands in the past.
Everyone's played in a hardcore
band. Everybody's a musician.
Everyone has that, dark demo they don't want to talk about.
I still love hardcore. There's definitely some modern hardcore bands I think that are fucking killing it. And I definitely think that's like, even in our scene in general, like, that's kind of like a tie that ties everybody together. Whether metal kids, emo kids, whatever.
Everyone fucked with turnstile. Don't want to lie to you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So did you find that hard to kind of differentiate yourself and kind of get a little bit of success not being a hardcore band, or did that earlier experience at hardcore bands kind of already establish you where you could then become a different type of genre per se and then still find success?
Maybe if we were living in fucking Pennsylvania or
it'd be different. It's an uphill battle out here, I would say.
It's definitely hard out here.
There's a tight-knit community of people who definitely are into this type of music, and a lot of cool bands around here, like our dude Spork, but unfortunately it's 90%,
it's hard. It's really hard to be a alternative or emo band, really, or whatever you want to call it in this area. It's a very hardcore dominant, but at the same time, there's a community that keeps growing, and we're making more connections and friends every day.
Get back to us in a few years on that one.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be different.
Hopefully Tampa will be the fucking place to be.
We have hope, man. It's growing.
Yeah, but as long as it's got a steady growth. So what would you say was the biggest struggle for you guys starting off as a band, and how did you guys overcome it?
Keeping members.
Actually, every time we've had to replace a member, it's been really easy.
Been pretty effortless, but...
It's been effortless, like next day shit. I've just met enough musicians, but really, I think the hardest thing
it would probably be the DIY recording. That's probably the one thing that fucked with us for a little bit.
Yeah.
We really had to cut our teeth and learn the process, but in the end, it worked out really good every time. I've always been pleased with it.
Our biggest challenge right now is he lives an hour and a half away. He's trying to change that.
Yeah.
And I feel like if the rest, because the or Vinny, our guitar player, he lives about an hour away. I mean, but if just me and him could get together, like, 2 or 3 days a week, like every week, like
we could just bang those motherfuckers out, dude.
But that's been a big challenge. But we try to make the best out of it as we can,
Yeah, dude.
But we're both fucking, poor fucking, Americans like the rest of us. So it's hard to have gas to fucking drive an hour and a half for him every day.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. So. One of the big things we like to talk about in here is kind of like the thrill of performing live, kind of like that high that people get, and I've had many musicians come on here and describe it as a high unlike anything that they could get from any type of drug. Just being able to unleash your music onto the crowd and knowing that you're bringing them joy. This is for both of you. What does that feeling personally mean to you?
Dude, it's a lot like meth, if you're being honest. Ever do meth, dude? No, it's like nothing else, man. You can't fucking touch it. Like, it's the best feeling. Sharing something like you personally created and something personal with a room full of people and them like responding to you is the coolest feeling on earth. That's the only way I would describe it.
Yeah, it's definitely feeling. It's hard to explain to people who aren't musicians or who aren't artists. But like, I mean, even like my dad, says the same thing. I mean, it's definitely a feeling that's like it's like unlike anything else. I mean.
It's a bug, dude. Like, the first time you play in front of a crowd and you hear that reaction, it gets you, and you want it every fucking day. Yeah. At least for me, I become a junkie for performing. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, we fucking love it. It's really, like...
That's the pride of this band, is the live show.
Yeah, and really at the point of, this junction as a band and how it's pretty much been since we started this band is we'll play pretty much anywhere. We don't care if there's 10 people there. We're going to play the same shows if there's 300 people there.
Yeah, dude, we will play your fucking house.
Yeah, we will play your house.
We're fucking coming through, man.
So, do you guys have any traditions before the show to kind of get yourselves amped up? Is there like a checklist? I mean, we have bands here that say like, oh, I always got to take like 2 shots of this, or we got to like do some stretches or whatever. What is your guys' preparation? Is it the same, or do you guys just wing it when you guys get there?
We don't really have any traditions. I mean, if like we're on tour and like there's bands playing for us, we watch the other bands, we hang out, we try to make connections. I mean, we don't really have any traditions. We're not definitely not superstitious type people. We're just easy going.
We go with the flow, man. We're there to play, and like whatever happens, happens. We take it as it comes.
Luckily we don't have any alcoholics or drugs.
Yeah, no one really fucking worry about. So.
Yeah.
So one of the big rumors I like to put to rest through this podcast is tour life. I mean, I was always cliched. I've never been in a band myself. I always had that cliched Hollywood version that a tour was all just fun and games and that you went out and you just got drunk a lot and then you got to play and then you just had a lot of fun. But little did I know by talking to all these musicians that it's 99.99% of the time it is nothing like that. It's
I don't know, dude. I don't know what tours they're on because tour's pretty fucking sick. Like, I don't care. Like we've toured in fucking Kia Souls and our van, and every time it's been rad. So
it's
I don't see why
fun, but I mean, he's also very young.
It's fucking cool, dude. Like, suck it up. Like, you get to play shows all the time. Like, that's all that matters. But
and the fact might be that you guys are touring around the Florida area, and most of the bands I'm talking with are touring around the Midwest, so that might be a little different then too.
Oh, trust me, dude. Driving through mountains and shit this last summer was the worst thing ever for a Florida boy. I mean, he's just hyping up because he misses it. He was talking about it the other day. But, when we're on the road, I mean, it sucks. I mean, he said he loves it because he didn't have to drive. I drove every fucking day.
It has its moments. Don't get me wrong, but for the most part,
it's really the time of your life. I mean, it's you miss the ones you love back home and shit. But other than that, like, I can't really. I mean, I'm with you. We love it. I mean,
just one of the big things that I picked up from it though is that 90% of the artists lose more money than they gain on tour, and that fact really just stunned me.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the DIY touring thing like we are. I mean, we're fortunate enough. I mean, we paid for all of our own food and all that shit. But I mean, we got every night our gas is paid for, and that's really all I care. As long as I have enough money to make it to the next town, I can't really ask much. And it's not even necessarily through guarantees, just through people donating or people buying T-shirts or buying tapes or whatever.
Yeah, like fan support.
And just the support of the community. I mean, it's as long as I have enough gas to get there. I mean, I'm taking the time out of my work schedule and stuff. Like I know I'm going to spend money.
It comes with the territory, man.
But
you
it's
have to
worth
spend
it
money
if you're
to get to
not
the point where you're going to
exactly.
get paid.
If you're not willing to spend that money to make your dream, you don't want it bad enough.
Yeah,
exactly.
Dude, it comes with it, man.
You do it so that hopefully one day somebody's paying for you to fucking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's the goal. You know what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
If it doesn't, doesn't happen. Like, I'm loving it every step of the way we're going.
At least you know you had fun along the fucking way, even if you never make it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we love hearing first show stories. What was your guys' first show like together, and how'd it go?
It was pretty good, dude. No complaints. I mean,
it's actually one of the better first shows I've ever had for a band. I mean, it was with like a national band.
Yeah, we played with Bonfires.
This band called Bonfires and some good, local drawing acts in Orlando. So it was actually really decent. It was at a good bar.
A lot better than we thought it was going to be.
A lot better
to be completely honest, but
yeah, I mean,
it was sick.
It was good. I've definitely had first shows in other bands where the
second
complete
show
opposite.
wasn't as good as that.
Second show was not
shit,
quite
dude. But
yeah,
we got off to a good start.
Yeah, that was definitely the best, I think, first show I've ever had.
Yeah.
What has been the favorite place you've played at so far as a band?
Wheeling, West Virginia, dude.
Virginia.
Oh my god.
Call out our boys.
Yeah, dude.
The Wheeling Island boys.
What made that better than anyone else?
Dude, it's fucking like another planet. I don't know, it's rad. Just like skaters, scrub kids for the mountains.
It was just the support, and just the people who were there were like, we felt at home as a bunch of skater kids, and like, we were skating before the show, drinking beers, and just having a really good time, and then came down time for the show, and every single person that was there came inside. Every single person that was there was listening to the set.
Like going the fuck off,
and just
dude.
having a great time, having a great night, and it was
We played in like the second story living room of this old ass house, and I swear you could feel like the floor shaking. It was insane.
Shout out to Alex Cool.
Yeah,
he's a fucking man. And yeah, it happened, a
he really
couple months
fucking
ago.
loves art, dude.
It was just great. It was really the people. I mean, that's all it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just an old northern house, but it was just the support was crazy. And I think it was, they all said it because they don't have a lot of bands that come through West Virginia.
Yeah.
And,
so
when they
people
did,
they get stoked.
Yeah, they were stoked on it. And it was, and we felt it. And we still, we've been talking to them ever since. I mean.
So if you want to play a sick show, go to Wheeling. Hit up Alex Cool.
All right, everyone go to Wheeling, West Virginia if you guys ever want to get a show. Give them that plug.
Lose money. What?
Yeah, the Wheeling. It's some next level shit. There's only one cop there.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
wow.
met, dude. The cops got called.
The cops were.
The one cop got called.
The one cop got called.
We parked on the wrong side of the street because we're fucking idiots.
Yeah.
We're from Florida. That's our excuse for everything.
Yeah, sorry, dude. We're from Florida, man.
All right. So now we get to the part of the podcast where we do our audience favorite Inside the Actor Studio-esque 5 questions that I'm going to ask you guys. I have all the answers from all podcasts tallied up, and then I think once this reaches 50, I'll tally them up and see who wins. But we're at episode 27, I think, now. But the first question, and all these questions are for both of you guys. Out of all the songs that have ever been written in the history of music, what is one song that you personally wish you would come up with yourself, and why?
Oh, man.
I wish I wrote "Shout at the Devil" because that song's really fucking cool.
That's a good one. Yep.
Yeah, dude, I know it's really fucking cool. It's Motley Crue, dude. They're gods with guitars.
I probably "Piano Man" by Billy Joel.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I wrote that song.
Yeah, that's a cool
really
song.
not even just the song, just the melody would be fine with me.
Surprisingly, you're the first person that's mentioned that one. I'm surprised. I thought that one was going to get nabbed in like one of the first few episodes, but yeah, that's the first Piano Man that we've had. So we got Piano Man on the board, everyone. All right, so for the second question, and this can be any artist, dead or alive, either one, doesn't matter. If you could play a show with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why? Just one show.
Man. I'm going to play a show with, like, the old Smashing Pumpkins from, like, 93, The cool ones. Those guys are Dinosaur Jr., but old Dinosaur Jr.
Mm-hmm. Pre-gray hair.
Yeah, dude. I want really old Jay Vasquez.
I don't know. Probably Black Sabbath.
Yep.
Well, obviously,
cool.
70s Black Sabbath, Paranoid Black Sabbath.
Are you ready for the amount of drugs that they'd make you ingest, though?
Yeah, dude, Shurwood. They didn't tell me.
I'll try. I try my best to be honest, man.
Yeah, dude, you're not gonna let down the Tony Iommi.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
I'm not gonna let him
You're gonna let Geezer Butley bitch you out, man.
Yeah, dude.
So if Ozzy told you in order to go on live stage with him, you had to bite the head off a dove like he did those few times, would you do it?
Consider it bitten.
I'd bite the fuck out of it, dude.
We eat birds on the reg, dude. We're from Florida.
What are you talking about? I thought you just eat gator meat down there.
Oh,
yeah, dude.
That shit tastes like chicken, dude.
Yeah. All right. So for a third question, Out of all the venues on the planet, if you could perform at any venue, where would it be and why?
CBGB, obvious reasons I don't even need to go into.
Dude, I don't fucking know, man. Oh,
Either that or emos in Austin, but probably CBGB is just CBGBs.
yeah.
That's our third CBGBs on this list.
Whiskey a Go Go, baby.
Yeah, some like hair metal bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, who the fuck would want to play a CBGB? That's a real question, man.
All right. So the fourth question is guilty pleasure song. What is a song that maybe you guys haven't disclosed with each other that you guys secretly like, or from like normal people, if when they first meet you, they'd never get that you'd enjoy? What is your guys' guilty pleasure songs?
My Dead-Eye Dick. That's it.
Dude, that's not even that bad. Mine's probably anything by Kesha.
Oh, fuck.
You are the third Kesha song that we've had for this list.
Yeah.
What is your favorite Kesha song?
Oh, probably Your Love Is My Drug. I'm probably going to have to say
Not gonna lie, that's my favorite one too.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. And I don't know, Kesha just reminds me of a time when I was younger and dumber and drink more alcohol that I shouldn't. But
I don't know, man. I really love Maroon 5's first record because James Valentine riffs so fucking hard the whole time. It's sick. There's like 7 or 8 good songs on that record.
I'll take your word for it, man.
Dude.
Yeah.
You listen to Kesha, I'll listen to Maroon 5.
All right. Now, lastly, guilty pleasure genre that you guys enjoy.
Hair metal for him.
Dude, no, I'm fucking proud of hair metal. Are you fucking kidding me?
I know, I was going to say, hair metal is not something that you need to be ashamed of.
Dude, no, man. I fuck with like bluegrass on like a weird level.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah.
like,
You do, dude.
Yeah.
Richard. I don't know, man. I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah, just fucking country, like old, like
Not
shitty
me.
country music for me. I know for you, but
Definitely not me. I guess it's not really like embarrassing, but if it's like something that people would know, I like 80s like In Excess and like poppy, but like new wavy at the same time. You know what I'm saying? That kind of shit. But yeah, nothing too guilty. I mean,
that shit's rad though.
Yeah.
You can't really be ashamed of that.
Yeah, exactly, man.
The Cure's cool.
I mean, again, Kesha, I guess.
Kesha, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you and a lot of 13-year-old girls, I mean, I guess. But,
Not me.
so where can people find your guys' music? Do you guys have it on iTunes? You guys have YouTube, Spotify? And I know you guys have a Facebook page, but where else can people find your music if they want?
Everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. It doesn't matter. Anywhere you can listen to music, you can find our band.
All right. And do you guys have any shows upcoming that you'd like to promote?
Yeah, we're playing a weekender in August, the 17th, at the Flamingo House in Savannah, Georgia. And then the 18th of August, we're playing at Furnace 41
in Atlanta.
in the outskirts of Atlanta.
Outskirts?
Yeah.
And then,
and then what is September? What is the September 18th?
September 13th, St. Seneca at Crowbar,
at the Crowbar
in Ybor.
That's in our hometown of Tampa.
Yeah.
But other than that, not yet. But we're working on more shit for September.
Yeah,
November.
dude.
All right, so you guys heard that. If you're in the Georgia area for those 2 dates, make sure to go by and give these guys a listen. Then also, if you're in the Tampa area, make sure September 13th to give these guys a check. So, how far away are you guys, you think, from completing your next release? Is that coming soon, or is it a little bit more of a work in progress?
It's a work in progress. We just released something like 2 months
okay.
ago. Yeah, we just released a split with a great band from St. Augustine, Florida called Guilt, who have been on tour the entire fucking summer.
For like 3 months.
2
Wow.
months. I don't know how.
Yeah.
But so they've been on tour forever, and we did a great split with them with just 3 songs. I'd say by this time next year, our full length will be out.
For sure. Hopefully earlier, but
this time next year, I would say yes.
For sure, yeah, and definitely let me know when it's coming out. I mean, I'd love to give it a plug on the show, and if you guys have any upcoming shows, when you guys decide where you guys the rest of those shows are going to be, definitely let me know, and I can give you guys a shout out on it. I mean, it was great talking to you guys, and oh yeah, I forgot one last thing. I always like to ask this final question to people before I have them off, but if someone were to like come up to you and say, "Hey, I'm starting a band," and what would be the number one piece of advice that you would give that person in order to have a successful band?
Have the nice gear. Have nice gear.
Yeah.
Don't play shitty gear.
Yeah, and fucking try, dude. Be dedicated
Yeah,
to
dude,
it. Like
try.
put some fucking effort into it. And show up to practice.
Don't play shows when you're not ready to.
Yeah, man. practice before you play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say practice before
It's
you
never
play,
cool to embarrass yourself.
and
so.
have decent gear because having shitty gear, nobody likes to hear squeaky gear and fucked up gear. And I don't want to have to stomp on your pedals for you and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, you heard that. So then this is the band Shurwood. I mean, guys, it was great having you on. You guys have anything else, like I said before, that you need me to promote, just give me a heads up. It was great having you. And if you guys want to come back on the show anytime, you guys are welcome anytime. And I mean, you guys have anything else that you'd like to promote? Any other local bands that you think deserve a shout-out, or any promoters that you think you'd like to give a little nice shout-out to?
Yeah, check out our boys Paperback.
Shout out to Paperback.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bird Person. Shout out to Lost in Space Camp. Those boys.
Yeah, you guys are cool.
Yeah. Pretty much, and of course, Wheeling.
A big endorsement of Wheeling here. I'll make sure to mention that again so that people get that notice. All right. Well, I mean, like I said, like 4 times before, I mean, it was really great having you guys on, and we look forward to wishing you guys all the success in the world and look forward to seeing what you guys can accomplish. And this is DD on the Spot. Ryan Johnson signing out. Have a great night, everyone.
All right, man. Take it easy.